Hi guys, Isha this side and I hope you are doing great. Today I am talking about a very important topic in Power BI, that is calculated columns and measures. What are these, how they are different from each other, when to use what and much more. So let's get started. Let's first understand what are calculated columns and measures. Basically, calculated column is a new column that you add to the existing table of your data model. You can take reference from the columns of the existing table or another table for creating the new columns. However, measures on the other hand are dynamic calculation and they do not belong to any specific table but rather to the entire data model. Let's understand this more with an example. So as you can see on my screen, let me go to table view and I have this sales table, just one table in my data model, very basic minimum entries. There are few columns, category, subcategory, and last two are quantity and price. Now what if I want to calculate total sales? I can do it two ways, either multiplying quantity into price and create a new column or doing it by measure. Let's do it both ways and start with column. So I want to add a new column. I'll go to table tools, add a new column. Let me name it as total sales column. I'll calculate as price into quantity from sales table. And now I have row wise values in my total sales column. So what if I want to create a measure? I'll go to report view, add a new measure. I'll name it as total sales measure. I'll use sumx function, give my table name which is sales here, and expression would be price column into quantity column. Now as you can see, I have total sales of 614k, and if I want total sales from column, it's the same value. But depending upon my use case, whether I want an entire new column, then I go ahead and create a new column. Having said that, column consumes storage space because they have their physical presence in the tables. However, measures do not consume any storage space. So if you just want it in your report view, then you can go ahead and create a measure rather than going with a column. But if your usability is such that you need to have a physical presence of this entire column, then go ahead and create a column. Column relies on row context. It means that value is calculated for each row in the table, which is happening in the case of total sales columns. Whereas measures on the other hand are evaluated in context of filters being applied. What I mean by that is, say if I have this measure and if I apply any filter, slicer in reports, columns or page anywhere, then its value will vary accordingly. Say I have this measure value of total sales and now I apply the filter of say country. Now it has given me sales value for each country. What if I apply a filter of any particular countries only? Then my results will vary. Since measures operate at aggregate level and not on row by row basis, so at times for some calculations you have to use measures only, like if you want to compute aggregate value of a percentage, then that cannot be done with columns but rather go with measures. Also, if you need the physical structure of a column, then you have to go with creating a column. Say if you want to use any particular calculation as a slicer or as a filter, then you have to go and create a calculated column because measures cannot be used as a slicers or filter. This is also one way to understand when to create column or when to go for a measure. Also, measures are computed at query refresh and columns are computed at the time they are created and dataset refresh. So depending what matters more, your user experience or the storage, then you have to decide which one to create, either a measure or a column. And as a general rule of thumb, if there is no difference between you creating a measure or a column, then go with a measure because it's space efficient. So thinking from that perspective, measures are preferable over calculated columns. If your dataset is large and complex and you want to create some pre-computed intermediate values, then prefer creating a new column rather than directly going ahead and creating a measure. that will be beneficial from user experience also and calculation perspective also. So we have discussed few factors attributing to decide whether we want to go for a measure or column. Depending upon such factors like usability, whether we want to go for row context or filter context, then our space or memory efficiency, then whether we want our calculations at aggregate level or row by row level, and considering our data set, how complex it is, how complex our calculations are. So all these factors helps us to decide whether we want to create a measure or a column. I hope it will be easier for you guys now to decide whether to go for a measure or a column. And yeah, thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.